Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a stack of sources, articles, research, court documents, witness testimonies, and really try to boil them down for you.
Yeah, we dig into the essential knowledge, the insights you need.
And today, we're plunging into a story that, well, it starts like a dream. Newlywed bliss.
Absolutely. A beautiful couple, this incredible wedding over in India, and then this dream honeymoon planned for South Africa.
But it just turns so fast,
Hmm.
horrifyingly fast. Hours into the trip, there's this violent carjacking in a really dangerous township.
And the bride, Anni Dewani, she's found dead.
It's a case that just gripped everyone, didn't it? So many twists, these shocking accusations, and this mystery that just won't go away.
Exactly. And that's our mission here in this deep dive. We want to navigate all those conflicting stories, look at the documented facts, the court records, the reports.
Try and understand not just what happened, but maybe why it became such a huge global thing.
Right. And why it still haunts everyone involved. We're really looking to pull out those sort of deeper observations about people, about the justice system,
Right.
that this case just throws into sharp relief.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We've got Anni Dewani. She's 28, vibrant from Sweden.
And Shrien Dewani, 30, a successful businessman from Bristol in the UK.
And this is November 2010. They're only 3 weeks married, just had this massive wedding.
Just extravagant, yeah. And now they're on this 10-day honeymoon in South Africa. It should have been perfect.
Should have been. Let's talk about Anni first. She sounds like, well, a really remarkable woman.
Definitely. Born in Sweden, her parents, Vinod and Nilam, their family had this tough history. They had to flee Uganda back in the early 70s, Idi Amin.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, they found refuge in Sweden, built a successful business, and Anni, she was smart, ambitious, confident. Her cousin apparently called her the leader of the pack.
The glue of the family.
Exactly. Worked in marketing for Ericsson in Stockholm. And by her mid-20s, she really wanted to settle down, start a family. That was important to her.
And Shrien Dewani enters the picture. How did they meet?
It was an arranged meeting, actually. An aunt set it up. Shrien's family, interestingly, also had that same background, fleeing Uganda.
Small world.
Isn't it? And Shrien was very successful. A millionaire before 30, running the family nursing home business in Bristol.
Did Anni like him right away?
Apparently not. Her sister said she didn't initially click with him, but after a second date, something changed. She warmed up, liked his sense of humor, felt protected by him.
So that initial hesitation turned into something real.
Seems so. But their relationship, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. This is important, I think.
How so?
Friends called them headstrong. They argued a lot, apparently, during their long-distance relationship.
Long distance is always tough.
Right, and Anni actually broke it off at one point, but they got back together. She even moved to Luton, closer to Shrien.
So despite the arguments, there was a real commitment there. They wanted to make it work.
It looks that way, and the family seemed to approve too. Annie's dad, Vinod, he said he felt a bit intimidated by the Dewani's wealth at first.
Understandable.
But he found them welcoming, and he liked Shrien, thought he was polite, educated, driven. He was also impressed by Shrien's apparent dedication to his religion.
And to Anni.
Yeah, specifically mentioning that Shrien didn't believe in premarital sex. That meant something to Vinod. It painted this picture of, traditional values, a respectable match.
And the wedding itself sounds like a fairy tale.
Oh, totally. October 2010, 3 days near Mumbai. Exquisite was the word used. Anni planned it all herself.
Her dad had saved up his whole life for his kids' weddings. Wanted her dreams to come true.
Such a lovely detail. But, and this is maybe a little unsettling, even amidst all that, some of Annie's close friends felt something was off.
Really? At the wedding?
Yeah. One said Anni wasn't very present. Another called it a strange experience, saying it just didn't feel like the friend she knew.
That's subtle, but maybe significant. A little bit of unease under the surface.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, even when everything looks perfect, maybe close friends can sense something isn't quite right, even if they can't put their finger on it.
Okay, so fast forward 3 weeks. November 12th. Shrien and Anni arrive in Cape Town for the honeymoon.
Shrien planned it all as a surprise for Anni. Chose South Africa because he said S for Shrien and A for Anni.
That detail.
Yeah.
It hits differently knowing what happened later.
It really does. And here's another detail that becomes crucial. Instead of using the hotel's car service, Shrien picks a local shuttle, cheaper rate.
Driven by Zola Tongo.
Exactly. Tongo drops them at their hotel, the Cape Grace, which is pretty luxurious. But then Shrien asks him to wait, wants to sort dinner for the next night.
And Tongo agrees to be their sort of unofficial tour guide.
Yeah, a seemingly small choice, right, picking that specific taxi driver. But it ends up being monumental, a key focus later on.
So the next night, November 13th, what happened?
Tongo picks them up after they've had drinks at the hotel. They had a reservation, apparently, at a well-known place, 96 Winery Road.
But they changed their minds.
Yeah, decided they wanted something lighter. So Tongo drives them to a place called Surfside Restaurant in Strand. So far, seems like a normal evening out.
Okay, nothing too alarming yet.
Not right then. But they weren't there long. Tongo picks them up again, and this is where the story takes that really sharp, confusing turn.
Right, the detour.
Shrien claimed Anni wanted to see the raw and real culture, the nightlife of the townships. He insisted Tongo drive them around.
Into Guguletu.
Into Guguletu, a place with a sky-high crime rate. I mean, seriously dangerous. People who live there say you just don't go out after dark.
And the stats are terrifying.
Aren't they? Between 2005 and 2010, over 700 murders there. That's like one every 2.5 days. Even the police wouldn't go in there alone, only in big groups.
It beggars belief. Why would honeymooners, tourists, want to go there, especially at night? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. It screams for explanation, doesn't it? Unless there's something else going on. The contrast between this luxury honeymoon and the reality of Guguletu is just stark.
And then it happens. The carjacking.
Yeah. 10:45 p.m., Tongo stops at an intersection. 2 armed men rush the car, banging on the windows. They force Tongo out.
And drive off with Shrien and Anni still inside.
Terrified in the backseat, yeah.
Yeah.
They drove around for nearly an hour, took Shrien's watch, his phone, Anni's jewelry.
And then the separation. That's the bit that always chilled me.
Me too. The driver supposedly said they didn't want to hurt the couple and they'd let them go separately.
So they just threw Shrien out.
Threw him out onto the road and then sped off with Anni, who is apparently hysterical. It's just harrowing. And immediately raises questions. Why separate them? Why leave Shrien?
So Shrien's found, what time was this?
Around 10:30 p.m., actually. A resident found him, crying, asking how to report a carjacking. Police show up, take him back to the scene.
And they find Tongo quickly, too.
Yeah, Tongo had also reported the incident, so initially both appear as victims.
But the next morning, the absolute worst news.
Yeah, November 14th. A resident spots the taxi, that gray VW minivan, parked on the roadside in Khayelitsha. That's about a 20-minute drive from Guguletu.
And at 8 a.m.
Police find Anni Dewani's body in the backseat. She'd been shot once, point-blank range, in the neck, bled to death.
Oh, God. Her poor father. How did he find out?
Horrific. He got a call from Shrien's brother first about the kidnapping, then Shrien called saying he couldn't protect her. Vinod booked the first flight.
And he heard she was dead while he was traveling.
Yeah, boarding his connecting flight in Amsterdam. He said he just felt totally numb. You just can't imagine.
And the police.
Yeah.
They were suspicious from the start.
They were. One officer on the scene said he knew right away this would not be a straightforward case.
What made him think that?
Well, Tongo. Why would a local driver who knows how dangerous Guguletu is take tourists there at night? It didn't add up.
And the fact they let Shrien and Tongo go.
Exactly. Let them go alive, unharmed, knowing they'd report it. But then drive off with Anni alone and shoot her. The officer said, that to me just doesn't gel.
No, it really doesn't.
And this thing just exploded. Massive international news story. South African authorities poured resources into solving it.
You could argue, maybe, that in the panic of a carjacking, criminals make illogical choices. Maybe they just wanted to get rid of the witnesses one by one.
That's definitely a possibility investigators would consider, the chaos factor. But the sequence. Tongo out first, then Shrien, then Anni driven away and killed. It felt too specific, too deliberate to many. That selectivity was the real red flag.
Okay, so the investigation ramps up fast.
Very fast. Fingerprints on the car lead them to a guy named Khalil Majeni. He confesses, names another man, Minziwa Madoda Kwabe.
And Kwabe points to someone else.
Yeah, finds Kwabe 2 days later. Kwabe names Mondo Malombo, who worked as a hotel receptionist. So the net is closing.
But then the big twist. The taxi driver, Tongo.
Yeah, Zola Tongo gets arrested. Everyone was stunned. Friends said he had no criminal record. He seemed like a normal guy.
But Shrien apparently suspected him.
He did tell a reporter later that he'd actually suspected that Tongo was involved, which is interesting, adds another layer.
So Tongo's in court. What happens there?
It's really dramatic. He's brought in, face hidden under a sheet, and they announce he's taking a plea bargain.
Right, a plea bargain. So he pleads guilty or cooperates?
in exchange for a lighter sentence. It's a common legal tool, but it always raises questions about the person's motives, right? Are they telling the truth or just saying what gets them a better deal?
And Tongo claims this wasn't random.
He vows to tell the whole truth, says this was no random attack.
In his version.
Absolutely explosive. He claims Shrien Dewani, Annie's new husband, orchestrated the whole thing, hired him to arrange his wife's murder.
Incredible. How did he claim it happened?
Okay, so Tongo says back on day one, when he picked them up from the airport, Shrien spent nearly 10 minutes talking to him alone in the car. CCTV actually confirms this part, Shrien talking to him while Annie went inside.
And what did Shrien allegedly say?
Tongo claims Shrien told him he wanted someone taken off the scene. Just like that.
Wow. And Tongo's response?
He says he told Shrien, look, I'm not your guy for that, but I know someone who can facilitate your request.
And the price?
Allegedly 15,000 rand, which, like we said, was less than 1,000 pounds back then.
Seems incredibly low for arranging a murder.
It does, doesn't it? Though some argued later it was kind of the going rate for that sort of thing in the townships, but still, it's jarring.
So Tongo connects Shrien with someone else.
He says he went to Mondo Malumbo, the hotel receptionist. Mondo then contacted Kwabe, and boom, the plan was set in motion.
Is there any proof of this communication?
Phone records apparently showed Mondo trying repeatedly to call Kwabe and Tongo, and there was supposedly audio from hotel CCTV.
Audio? What did it capture?
Mondo allegedly saying during a call, it's that thing we were talking about, it must happen today. Chilling, if true.
And the money. How is that handled, according to Tongo?
Tongo claims Shrien went to change money on the day of the murder, specifically at a place with a lower rate. Annie's dad later confirmed Shrien had mentioned changing money that day.
And on the night itself?
Outside the Surfside restaurant, Shrien allegedly asked Tongo, have you arranged for the guys? Then, as they drove into Guguletu, they supposedly exchanged texts.
Texts? What do they say?
Tongo claimed Shrien texted him that the cash was ready, in an envelope tucked in a pouch behind the front passenger seat. Police said cell data corroborated texts and calls between them at that time, but
Shrien's phone was never found.
Exactly. So the actual content of those messages remains unknown, a crucial missing piece.
How did Annie's family react to this plea deal implicating Shrien?
They were confused and devastated, understandably. But they were consulted and they agreed to it. They just wanted the truth, whatever it was.
An impossible position to be in.
Truly agonizing. Meanwhile, Shrien and his family fiercely denied everything, called it completely ridiculous, totally lacking evidence. His lawyers argued, why would he ask the very first taxi driver he meets to kill his wife? It sounds crazy on the surface.
So let's track the others involved. Tongo got 18 years with his plea deal.
Right. Quab, the other guy involved in the carjacking, he also took a deal. 25 years for pleading guilty and agreeing to testify against Shrien.
And Majini, the first one arrested.
Khalil Majini, yeah. He pleaded not guilty, but got convicted, sentenced to life. He actually died in prison later from a brain tumor.
But the hotel receptionist, Mondo Malumbo, he walked free.
He did. Despite allegedly arranging the hit, he got full immunity. Full immunity in exchange for testifying against Shrien.
That's quite something, immunity for arranging a murder.
It shocked a lot of people. But it shows how far prosecutors will sometimes go to secure testimony against their main target. It's a strategic, if sometimes unsettling, part of the legal process.
Meanwhile, Shrien's back in the UK, fighting extradition.
For years, yeah. Arrested in Bristol for conspiracy to murder, South Africa wanted him back for trial, but he fought it tooth and nail.
On what grounds?
He claimed severe depression, PTSD, said he was too ill to stand trial, wouldn't get a fair hearing in South Africa. His family even hired Max Clifford, the PR guy.
Ah, Max Clifford. Controversial figure himself later on.
Indeed. He was managing the press. Interestingly, Annie's dad, Vinod, refused to sign any agreement limiting what his family could say to the media.
Good for him. What did Annie's family think about the extradition fight?
They were adamant he would get a fair trial. They urged him publicly to give up the fight and face the courts.
And eventually he was extradited.
After years of legal battles, yes. The UK Home Secretary at the time, Theresa May, signed the order. He was sent back to South Africa.
So 4 years after Annie died, the trial begins.
Finally. Shrien pleads not guilty to all 5 charges. But then his lawyer drops a bombshell.
The sexuality admission.
Exactly. Shrien admitted through his lawyer that he was bisexual, that he'd had encounters with male prostitutes.
And also issues with fertility.
Yes, stated he had abnormally low hormone levels, making it unlikely he could ever have children. These were huge surprises in court.
And the prosecution jumped on this, right, as a motive.
Immediately. They argued this pointed to a sham marriage, that Shrien was desperate to hide his sexuality. Maybe Annie found out or threatened to expose him on the honeymoon.
A motive beyond just wanting out, maybe fear of exposure within his community or family.
That was the implication. Police speculated Annie might have discovered something. Then this male prostitute, Leopold Leiser, the German master, he told the Sun newspaper, Shrien had paid him for sex and talked about wanting to get out of a relationship.
And there was digital evidence, too.
Court documents, though some were omitted from the main trial, apparently showed Shrien looking at gay porn and dating sites during the honeymoon, even in the hours after Annie's body was found.
That's incredibly damaging context, if true.
It painted a very different picture, certainly. And then came evidence about Annie's own feelings. The relationship wasn't all roses.
The emails and texts.
Yeah. An email from Shrien before the wedding saying, basically, if you're not happy with me, this isn't right. Annie's cousin recalled her worrying she'd made a big mistake right after the wedding.
And the text to her cousins.
Heartbreaking stuff. Hate him. Fighting a lot with Shrien. Wish I had never got engaged. Crying has become my new hobby. Just awful.
Even on the honeymoon itself.
Day one, she texted a cousin. I'm really trying. He's a really good guy in all ways, but I don't feel happy with him at all.
So much private turmoil behind the public image.
Exactly. But Shrien's defense maintained he was blissfully happy with his dream girl. His lawyer asked, why would I want to kill her? Pointing to footage of Shrien crying as contradicting the state's cold-blooded killer narrative.
And some argued Annie's doubts were just normal pre-wedding jitters or stress.
That was the counter-argument. Normal couple stuff may be amplified by wedding pressure, but then the judge made a crucial ruling on the sexuality evidence.
She ruled it inadmissible for the main trial.
Judge Jeanette Traverso listened to it all, but decided it wasn't directly relevant to proving the conspiracy to murder.
So it might show motive for wanting out, but not necessarily motive to kill.
That seems to be the legal reasoning. Proving someone is bisexual doesn't prove they arranged a murder. There's a high bar for allowing potentially prejudicial character evidence in many legal systems. It definitely weakened the prosecution's narrative about why he might have done it.
A huge blow for the prosecution, especially since their case relied so heavily on Tongo.
Absolutely. And Tongo's credibility started to unravel under cross-examination.
How so?
His story began changing. More and more contradictions emerged. He even tried to claim the police must have added things to his statements without him knowing.
That sounds desperate.
It does. And critically, Tongo, Mondo, and Quab, the state's key witnesses, were all found to have committed perjury. They admitted lying under oath in parts of their affidavits.
Perjury. Lying under oath. That's devastating for the prosecution's case.
Completely. It just threw everything into doubt again. If your star witnesses admit they lied about some things, how can you trust anything they say? It really highlights the challenge of finding truth when key players have reasons to lie.
It makes conviction almost impossible, doesn't it? If the foundation is built on lies.
It creates enormous reasonable doubt, which is exactly what happened next.
Day 23 of the trial.
Shrien's lawyers asked the judge to throw the case out, said it was massively flawed.
And the judge agreed.
Judge Traverso came down hard on the prosecution, criticized the weaknesses, the contradictions in the witness statements. 4 years after Annie was murdered, she ruled Shrien Dewani not guilty, discharged him, case over.
Just dismissed.
Yeah.
How did Annie's family react?
Utterly devastated. They felt let down by the justice system, felt that Annie had been let down too. The UK coroner couldn't even reopen the inquest because they couldn't contradict the South African verdict.
No sense of closure for them at all.
None. Just this profound void. A legal outcome, but not necessarily justice in their eyes.
And the aftermath. There's more tragedy, really.
Yeah. Majeni died in prison. Leopold Leiser, the German prostitute, he took his own life in 2016. Reports said he was under tremendous stress from the court case.
And even Tongo's parole was affected.
In 2021, yeah. His parole was withdrawn. His own father and uncle reported him as seeming emotionless about Annie, like he didn't even recognize her picture. They concluded he wasn't remorseful.
What a grim footnote. And Shrien.
As of a few years ago, reports said he was living back in the UK with a boyfriend.
So the case remains completely polarizing.
Totally. You have people who firmly believe it was just a random tragic carjacking gone wrong, that any accusation against Shrien was unfair. lacked real evidence.
And maybe the theory that Tongo saw a chance for a kidnapping or robbery that spiraled out of control.
That's another perspective, that maybe it wasn't planned by Shrien, but Tongo and the others improvised something that ended horrifically.
But many people, especially Annie's family, they still believe Shrien planned it all.
They do. Her father, Venod, points to things like Shrien's changing stories about the night. What he felt was a highly inappropriate pizza party Shrien had before Annie's funeral.
And the engagement ring.
Yeah.
That detail seems to stick with them.
Yeah, that 25,000-pound ring. Initially, Shrien didn't mention it being taken, then later amended his statement saying it was taken but found later in the car, claiming he was in shock initially. For the family, that felt suspicious. A symbol of the marriage left behind or retrieved under confusing circumstances.
So many conflicting stories, unreliable witnesses. It feels like we'll never know the absolute truth.
It seems unlikely, doesn't it? The full picture of what happened that night, the real motivations, the connections. It's just obscured by too many contradictions and question marks.
So we've walked through this incredibly complex, just heartbreaking story. Started with tragedy, then these shocking claims, the legal twists, and just so much personal pain.
Yeah, Anni Dewani's murder really shows how hard the search for justice can be. Contradictory testimony, hidden motives, the sheer pressure of a case like this. It can cloud everything.
It leaves you, and especially Annie's family, with this terrible feeling of incompleteness, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The legal system reached its verdict, a not guilty, based on lack of sufficient evidence. But the personal, emotional questions, they just hang there, unanswered.
So where does that leave true justice? Especially for those left behind, still desperate to know what really happened to their daughter, their sister, their friend.
It's a tough question. Think about that tension. A verdict based on the absence of proof needed for conviction versus that persistent gut feeling many have that something was profoundly wrong. When the legal process ends but the questions don't, what does justice really mean? Something to really mull over.